We'll say some prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa
Kadamaya Dadati Swapadantikam
Shri Tapat Kamlam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Satam Sajivam Advaitam Savadhutam Parijana Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan
Pada
Shri Vishakhantamscha
Tamsya
Shri Krishna Karuna Sindhu
Sindhu Dinabandhu
Deenabandhu
Jagatpate
Gopesha
Gopesha
Gopika
Gopika
Kanta
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 Radha Kanta
Namaste
Namaste
Tapta
Tapta
Kanchana
Kancha
Gaurani
Gaurangi Radhe
Vrindavaneshwari
Vrindavaneshwari
Vishvanusute
Vishvanuste
Devi
Devi
Pranamami
Harvami Haripriye
Vanchakaltarubhyascha Kripa
Vanchakalpacharupasya Kripa
Sindhubhya
Sindhuva
Eva Cha
Evacha
Patitanam
Patitanam
Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo Namo
Vaishnavebhyo
Namah
Namo Namah
Kam karoti vachalam pangum
Achalam
lankayate girim
Pangam
yat
Kirim
kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna
Shri Krishna
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Ishwaram
Ishwaram
Gurve Gaur Chandraya Radhikaya
Radhikaya
Tadalaye
Tadalaye
Krishnaya Krishna
Krishna
Bhaktaya
Bhaktaya
Tadbhaktaya Namo
Tadbhaktaya
Namah
Namo Namah
Hare Krishna Hare
Krishna Hare
Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Rama Hare
Rama Hare
Rama Rama
Rama
Rama Hare Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna. Please feel free to say the invocation prayers with me. And you can feel free to unmute and chant just like Rekha Mataji, because the Mangla Charan prayers are very auspicious before any class. It helps the speaker to speak in the right mood, and it helps the audience, the hearer, to hear in the right mood and to assimilate the essence, the substance of the class, of the discussion. In the right mood, and all the philosophical points, all the pastimes that are otherwise very complicated and maybe difficult to understand, actually become easy to understand by the mercy of all these people that we are glorifying in these prayers. So this is all our Guru Tattvas, all the six Goswamis, Mahaprabhu's associates, the Panch Tattva, and Srimati Radha Rani Krishna and their associates, the Ashta Sakhis, and especially Lalita and Vishaka Sakhi. So we are invoking all of them in our prayers. It's very, very auspicious prayers to chant. If you've not memorized, please try to memorize completely, and feel free to recite them. Okay, we'll get started. I'll share my screen. Welcome, Renu Mataji and Priya Mataji. Thank you for joining. So before I go to verse 9 and 10, verse 10 and 11, let's read the translation of verse 8 and 9. Can two devotees volunteer to read verse 8 and 9 translation? Please go ahead. We have a lot to cover today, so without any...
I can read.
Yes.
The essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way, one should reside in Braj, Gokul Vrindavan Dham, and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I
Can
can
somebody...
read this, Mataji.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Text 9. The holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikuntha, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared here. Superior to Mathurapuri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan because of Krishna's Rasalila pastimes. And superior to the forest of Vrindavana is Govardhana hill, for it was raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And above all, the super excellent Sri Radha Kund stands supreme, for it is overflooded with the ambrosial nectarian prema of the Lord of Gokula, Sri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radha Kund, which is situated at the front of Govardhana hill?
Foot of
Foot of Govardhana hill. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So just to recap verse 8 and 9 very quickly. So actually the Nectar of Instruction, you know that it has only 11 verses. It is compiled by Srila Rup Goswami. And we have discussed the genius of Rup Goswami, how in just 11 verses he has given us from the very initial stages of sadhana bhakti, the very beginning, which involves sense control, mind control, control of the urges of stomach, anger, genitalia, mind, speech, whatnot, to the very highest of process of prema bhakti also. So he covers through the whole process of sadhana bhakti as well as the rag marg. So, but his instructions, and he gave us many instructions. We will recap this in the next class. So we will review the whole nectar of instruction in next class and hopefully have a quick quiz also, a Kahoot quiz also. So please be prepared. Please read the nectar of instruction. We will have a quiz next time and we will review the whole, all the verses quickly before we do the take the quiz. His instructions stop at verse 8. So in verse 8, if you see, he says this is the Upadesh Saram. This is the essence of all Upadesh. So by verse 8, he has given us a conclusion of all the verses, of all the instructions. He has now stopped giving us instruction. In 9, 10, and 11, he's talking about hierarchy of different spiritual places and hierarchy of different spiritual people or devotees, you can say. Hierarchy means how they stand in a level of spiritual progression based on their love for Krishna. What is their standing in the spiritual world? Okay, which are the considered the low and the next level, like what is their progression of places and progression or hierarchy of people, places and people. That is what he has given us in verses 9 and 10. And in 11, once he concludes what is the topmost place and what is the topmost devotee, then he glorifies those two places, that we should focus on them and try to attain them in their mercy. Okay. So, but the instructions finish at verse 8. So in 8, basically, he says that for sadhakas, the initial struggling devotees, people who are engaged in Vedi Bhakti means where you are following rules and regulative principles. You are following a disciplinary process. You do not have any spontaneous love or attachment for Krishna, but you understand your relationship with him based on your knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, and you are trying to explore or develop, cultivate that relationship more and more. Okay. So in order to develop that relationship, now you are following a process of cleansing of your consciousness by following certain rules and regulative principles. And you are following those rules and regulative principles under the guidance of a spiritual master, and in following in the footsteps of acharyas. Okay. So he says, if you follow that process, and the foremost of that process, the foremost of the rule of Vedi Bhakti is to chant Krishna's names and to discuss, to glorify, to do the kirtan of his names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. So if you see verse 8 says that utilize your full time, 24 hours a day, in chanting and remembering the Lord's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. This is, if you think about it, this is the whole process we follow. We follow hearing, chanting, glorifying the Lord. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. And even deity worship, all these things. Navda Bhakti is included in this. You could be doing different things throughout the day, but one way or the other, somehow keep yourself immersed in name, form, qualities, pastimes of Krishna, whether it is through reading of books, whether it is through hearing classes, whether it is through chanting, whether it is through deity worship, whether it is through cooking prasadam, eating prasadam, whether it is through some services in the temple or for devotees, like that, one way or the other, yen kain prakaren mana Krishna niveshyet. Somehow or the other, one way or the other, you are immersed in Krishna consciousness. You're following rules and regulative principles. So we know those rules, we know the do's and the don'ts of Krishna consciousness. So gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. This is what verse 8 is saying. In this way, you should reside in Braja. And we discussed the mood of Braja last time. We discussed that Braja just does not just refer to a place. It doesn't mean that we have to give up everything and go settle in Vrindavan. Braja is a mood. Braja is wherever Krishna resides. Braja is where devotional service is practiced. Braja is where devotional service is taught. It is where Bhagavad Gita is heard, where Bhagavad Gita is taught, where these principles given by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita are followed and taught. That is where Braja is, right? So we discussed many examples of how Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have given us explicit instructions that living in Braja is not important, but making Braja wherever you live is more important. So converting your current situation into a Braja is more important. Making the whole world into Braja is more important, because Braja is not a material place. It's not like, okay, it is just in UP, or it is just so many kilometers away from a certain city. No, it is just only this much area. No, that is not Braja. Braja is the dham of Bhagwan, and you can practically convert any place into Braja, starting from your own heart, right? So we talked about that mood of Raja. So for a neophyte devotee, for a struggling sadhaka, for an initial practitioner of bhakti, who is taking this process, the process that I've highlighted, who is taking this process, needs to start converting everything into Vraja wherever they live. And they do this in the footsteps of a wonderful devotee, of Lord's beloved devotees who are attached to the Lord's devotional service. So this is the verse 8. Then verse 9, I told you, verse 9. So here his instruction finishes. He says, this is my conclusion, or a sense of all instructions, Upadesh Saram. Okay. Then he talks about the hierarchy of places, spiritual places. So spiritual places, he says, Vaikuntha is a very elevated, Vaikuntha is a very high place, because that's where Lord Narayan lives, right? Lord Narayan is the worshipable deity of Vaikuntha along with Lakshmi Devi. But superior to Vaikuntha, you know that in Vaikuntha, the practice of bhakti is in the mood of awe and reverence, meaning Aishwarya Bhav is predominant in Vaikuntha. So with Narayan, with Lakshmi Narayan, there is no like fun pastimes as Krishna has in Gokul. There is no tug of rope. There is no stealing of butter. There is no Damodar Leela. There is no stealing the clothes of Gopi. There are none of those naughty and daring pastimes. There is no teasing of Krishna, none of that. You have to maintain a very respectful, prayerful mood. Narayan knows that he's God. He never forgets his divinity, and the devotees never forget his divinity, and they are worshipping him in a very Aishwarya Bhav. Okay, so that is the mood of Vaikuntha. From your previous understanding, you know that Aishwarya Bhav is considered a little bit on the lower pedestal. So then comes the next holy place in the spiritual progression of Bhav in terms of rasa. Remember that in terms of tattva, all these devotees, all these places are transcendental. Okay, some devotees will not accept any place other than Vaikuntha. Some devotees will not accept any place other than Mathura. Some will not accept anything other than Vrindavan. So we have to, so every devotee has their individuality, every living entity, every soul has their free will, has their particular mood of how they want to serve the Lord. They each have their unique relationship with the Lord, and they want to serve in a particular way, in a particular rasa, in a particular place. That does not, so when we give this step wise progression, or this ladder of spiritual places or spiritual people, we should not consider that anything is low or high. We should know that in rasa, in terms of rasa, things are low and high, but not in terms of tattva. Okay, they are all exalted position. They are all sacred, all extremely divine. But wherever Krishna is more complete, wherever Krishna is more free in his reciprocation with the devotee, that type of bhav or rasa is considered superior. Okay, so that in Vaikuntha, since there is a little bit of restriction and limitation between how devotee reciprocates with Lakshmi Narayan, Vaikuntha is, in terms of rasa, is in this verse has been given a lower rung of the ladder. So the next level comes Mathura. Okay, so and Rup Goswami is also giving us the reason why Mathura Puri is higher. He says Mathura Puri is higher because Lord appeared here. Lord appeared. He took Janma here. He had this famous birth pastime. His Divya Janam happened in Mathura Puri. That's why Mathura is superior to Vaikuntha. But superior to Mathura is Vrindavan. The transcendental, the Dwadash Kanan of Vrindavan is superior because here the Madhurya Leela pastime, the Ras Leela happens, which is the most free pastime, where Krishna completely forgets his divinity. Gopis do not recognize his divinity, and gopis are ready to leave their husbands, leave their material attachments, everything, and come participate in the rasa dance with Krishna. So that mood is so high that there is nothing comparable to that mood. And so since Krishna engages in that pastimes in Vrindavan is considered higher. Okay, Vrindavan is considered the is considered Krishna's playhouse, right? This is where Krishna performs his, he's considered the darling child of Vrindavan because he performs his most free pastimes here. This is his home. This is Mathura and Vaikuntha are not considered his home, but Vrindavan is considered the home of Krishna, where just like in our home, we are completely free. We can roam about, do whatever we want. Whereas outside, we have to maintain etiquette, code of conduct, we have to be respectful, we have to maintain distance from certain people, we have to be very careful of what we are saying. But at home, we can be completely free, completely ourselves, eat what we want, wear what we want, say what we want, completely, laughing as we want, playing as we want. So Vrindavan is his home where he can do whatever he wants, and devotees completely forget that he's the Supreme Lord. So this is Vrindavan. But in Vrindavan also there is a hierarchy. In Vrindavan, the topmost place is Govardhan Hill. Because Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill with his divine hand. So it says Udar Pani, with his divine hand, with his merciful hand, he lifted Govardhan Hill on his hand. And you know that on Govardhan he performed so many pastimes. So Govardhan is considered superior within the forest of Vrindavan. And in Govardhan also there are many places. There are many places on Govardhan Hill also. We just sang about them. There are many songs about Govardhan. There are many places there. But out of all those places, the topmost is the pond, the ambrosial nectarian pond or lake of Srimati Radha Rani, which stands at the foothill of Govardhan Hill. And this is the line that we were reading before the song. Who is that intelligent person? If Radha Kund is the topmost spiritual place in this cosmic manifestation, which intelligent person will not like to serve this divine Radha Kund? Because Radha Kund is considered, we have discussed many times glorification of Radha Kund. Radha Kund is like liquid prema. So Radha Rani, it is said that Radha Rani is made of nothing but love of Krishna. Radha Rani is the love personified, Krishna prema personified. So if Krishna is absolute, right? Krishna is complete whole. If Krishna separated his love from himself, and that love, that Krishna prem became a person, that person is Radharani. Radharani is made of Krishna's love. And this pond is made of that prem, that Krishna prem. So that is why you will see the verses that we're reading today. It is said that if somebody takes bath even once in Radha Kund, they will immediately get infected with Krishna Prem, because that pond is made of prema of Krishna. So this is the last two verses that we read. I've very, very succinctly discussed these, but please go into details from previous class. Let's start with verse 10 and 11, otherwise we won't be able to finish. This is a very difficult recitation. Before we recite, anybody has any questions? Just for a few minutes.
Yes, Mataji, I have a question. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we discussed all these places. Is there any mention of Dwarika? Or any of his pastime in Dwarika,
Yes.
or just okay?
Yes, Mataji, yes. So actually, after Mathura is considered Dwarka. So Mataji, um, there is a beautiful book of Sanatan Goswami. It's called Brihad Bhagavatamrit. I was actually going to talk about that. I can tell you now. There is a beautiful book of so there are 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, and one of the Goswamis, Srila Sanatan Goswami, okay, he wrote a beautiful book that has 2 stories in it. Okay, and book is called Brihad Bhagavatamrit. I have that book, Brihad Bhagavatamrit. If I can show it to you somewhere, yes, it's up there. Anyway, so Brihad Bhagavatamrit has 2 stories. In one story, Narad Muni goes on a quest to find the topmost devotee of the Lord, or the devotee is the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy. He goes on this quest, Narad Muni, and we have discussed this story before many times. In this quest, the hierarchy is given more in detail. So he starts his quest, Narad Muni starts his quest from a simple Brahman who was worshipping a Shaligram Shila in one of the villages in South India, I believe. So a simple Brahman, very poor Brahman, who has nothing but just like a potli with one Shaligram Shila in it. And on his quest, he makes this journey and he goes through a hierarchy of devotees. He goes through that one Brahman sends him to a king who is worshipping like 108 Shaligram Shilas. That king sends him to Lord Indra sends him to Brahmaji sends him to Lord Shiva sends him to somebody else like that. He goes through Prahlad Maharaj, he goes to Hanumanji. Everybody in their humility says, we are not the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy. We are not the topmost devotee of the Lord, and they keep sending him to the next person. In that quest, he goes to Dwarka also, and in Dwarka, he meets the queens of Dwarka, and he meets Uddhavji. Those are considered the 2 very wonderful devotees in Dwarka. The queens of Dwarka, 16,108 queens of Dwarka, Mahishigan, are none other than the expansions of Srimati Radharani. Okay, they send him to Uddhavji. Uddhavji says, what are you talking about? Go to Vrindavan. Uddhavji sends him to Vrindavan. So before Vrindavan, actually, Dwarka is mentioned in that progression, in that quest of Narad Muni. So Dwarka is mentioned several places, like other places also. This is the reference that is coming to my mind right now. But in Dwarka also, remember, the mood is of King Krishna does not play flute there. Krishna is wearing this mukut. Krishna is in this he's a king. He's in this Rajasi bhav. He knows that he deserves to be served because he's the king. So the Mahishigan and Uddhavji, they all have this reverence towards him. So it's still Aishwarya bhav, but it is less than Mathura. So because there are Mahishigan, the queens who are married to him, so there is a little bit of Madhurya Bhav also. So Aishwarya is mixed with Madhurya, but there is no free Madhurya Bhav. In Vrindavan, there is free Madhurya Bhav. And of course, there is not much Sakhya Bhav or Vatsalya somewhat, but not much Sakhya. In Vrindavan, he's complete, full on Vatsalya, as you know, full on Sakhya, as you know, full on Madhurya, as you know. So in other places, Dasya Bhav or Aishwarya Bhav are more predominant. So those places are lower in the progression. Does that answer, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Before I go further, let me just ask, who here has been to Radha Kund? I know, well, of course.
We have Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
I have 2, Mataji.
Rekha Mataji also, yes.
We also went to Radha Kund.
Very bold.
Me also went to, me and Papa.
Very nice. I did not know that. Okay. Okay, let's start our recitation. It'll be a little bit broken recitation, I'm not very sure, but we'll try. Karmi bhaya parito hare priyataya vyaktim yayur janinas. Karmi
Karmi
bhaya
parito
Hari
hare
priyataya vyaktim yayur
jnana
jnaninas.
तेभ्यो ज्ञानविमुक्तभक्तिपरमा प्रेमैकनिष्ठास्ततः तेभ्यो
तेभ्यो
ज्ञानविमुक्तभक्तिपरमा प्रेमैकनिष्ठस्ततः तेभ्यस्तपशुपालपङ्कजदृशस्ताभ्योऽपि साराधिका
तेभ्यस्तपशुपालपङ्कजदृशस्ताभ्योऽपि
साराधिका
साराधिका
प्रेष्ठा तद्वद् इयं तदीय सरसी तां न श्रयेत् का कृती
प्रेष्ठा
तद्वदियं
तद्वदिदयं
तदीय
सरसि
सरसि
तां
तं
न
न
श्रयेत्
श्रूयात्
कः
कः
कृतिः।
कृति
Let's recite next one also because it's a difficult recitation. So this is the last verse, Nectar of Instruction, verse 11. कृष्णस्योच्चये प्रणयवसति प्रेयसीभ्योऽपि राधा
योच
कृष्णयोच्चये
प्रणयावसति प्रेयसिनोऽपि राधा
प्रणयसीभ्योऽपि राधा
कुण्डं चास्य मुनिभिरभितस्तादृग् एवाव्यधायि
कुन्दं चास्य
चास्य
मुनिभिरभितस्तदृक्
मुनिभिरभितस्तदृग् एव
एवाव्यधायि
व्यथयि
यत्प्रेष्ठेरपि अलम् असुलभं किं पुनर्भक्तिभाजाम्
यत्पृष्ठेरपि अलम्
यत्प्रेष्ठेरपि
अलम्
अलम्
असुलभं
असुलभं
असुलभं किं
पुनर्भक्तिभाजाम्
पुनर्भक्तिभाजम्
तत्प्रेमदं सकृदपि सरस्नातुराविष्करोति
तत्प्रेमदं च
तत्प्रेमिदं सकृद्
कृदपि
अपि
सरस्ते
सरस्नातु
सविष्करोति।
आविष्करोति
Okay, let's read this. Please read a little slow, whoever reads, so it makes an impact. Please go ahead. Someone wants to read this.
I can read.
Yes.
In the Shastra, it is said that all types of fruitive workers, he who is advanced in knowledge of the higher values of life, is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari. Out of many such people who are advanced in knowledge, Gyanis, one who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge may take to devotional service. He is superior to the others. However, one who has actually attained prema, pure love of Krishna, is superior to him. The gopis are exalted above all the advanced devotees because they are always totally dependent upon Sri Krishna, the transcendental cowherd boy. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. Her Kunda lake is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis. Who then will not reside at Radha Kunda and in a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings, aprakrita bhava, render loving service to the divine couple of Sri Sri Radha Govinda who perform their Ashtakale Leela, their eternal eightfold daily pastimes. Indeed, those who execute devotional service on the banks of Radhakund are the most fortunate people in the universe. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is giving us, so we got the hierarchy of places in the last verse and we came to Radha Kund. So we talked about Vaikuntha, then Mathura, then Vrindavan, then Govardhan, and in Govardhan, on the foothills of Govardhan is a pond which is called Radha Kund. So point to be noted that we are not talking about Sham Kund. This is Radha Kund. So let's look at the Sanskrit very quick, okay? So this verse is now telling us about hierarchy of people, okay? Hierarchy of people. Places we already covered, now people. So in this world, the lowest type of people, the lowest consciousness of the people is the one who are completely materially absorbed. You all agree with that, right? So there are two types of people. One is materially absorbed and one that are completely Krishna conscious, completely Krishna absorbed in Krishna. complete Krishna-centered life, and completely Krishna Vimukh, away from Krishna, and completely turned towards Krishna. But between these two, there is a whole spectrum of people. Some that fluctuate between material and spiritual consciousness, some people that are struggling, right? Some people that are sold towards spiritual path, but more on the impersonal side, like towards knowledge, viragya, or detachment, but not so much towards bhakti, not so much towards love and service of the Lord, not so much attracted to his personal form, or may not even believe in his personal form. Like that, there is a very big spectrum of people. The lowest type of people, I hope you have the book, or I hope all of you have the book, uh, but here I'll keep the screen up. So the lowest type of people are called karmi. Okay. Now, remember that when this verse says karmi, this is talking about not vikarmis. Okay, vikarmis are even lower. Vikarmis are the people that are gross materialist, that are engaged in just sense gratification, enjoyment, and maybe even atheists, do not recognize any superior authority. Those are the type of people that are discussed in chapter 16 of Bhagavad Gita. Asuri Sampada, that type of people are vikarmi. Vikarmi are even lower level people. They will even commit crime or sinful actions to achieve sense gratification or to exert their lordship over this world. So those are vikarmi people. We're not even this verse is not even starting from those people. This verse is starting from somewhat spiritually or religiously inclined people. So karmi here refers to karma kandi people, people that are religious materialists. I have often used this term before, religious materialist, which means they recognize the authority of Lord according to, or some demigod or some type of Vedic authority, some type of superior authority. It could be demigod, it could be Supreme Lord, it could be other type of paths, spiritual paths, but they engage in those paths for their fruitive benefits. So they are materialists because they engage in yagyas, homams, or various types of austerities, charities, also pious activities, just to earn some fruitive benefits so that their this life and next life can be secure and happy and fortunate. So just making their material condition better in this life and in next life. For that purpose, for some extracting some benefit from the spiritual authorities, from the Lord or demigods, they engage in their worship. Those are called karmakandi peoples, the religious materialist. So it is saying karmibhya, better than karmibhya, or fruitive workers, fruitive religious type of people are those that are engaged in knowledge, that are advanced in knowledge. Okay. So jnani are better. Okay. It says jnani are better. Tebhyo, better than them. Tebhyo means better than them, are gyan vimukta. Gyan vimukta are, so jnani people are impersonal type of people. They have engaged in all kinds of sense gratification, either in this life or previous life. They have completed all types of demigod worships, various Vedic rituals, various sacrifices, everything they have done to make their material situation better. And now they are frustrated with this world, and they know this material world is not their place. They have understood the initial knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. They understand they are the soul. This world is meant for their purification. They have to get out of this world. The goal is to get liberated. So they have come to the platform of liberation. So they're advanced in knowledge. Okay, they understand their identity of this world and position in this world. So they are jnani people, they are advanced in knowledge. So better than karmi people are jnani people, because at least they are trying to get out of here. Karmi people, karmkandi people were just making their situation better in this world. Jnani people are now trying to get out of here. So jnani are better. After jnani comes jnan vimukta, that with their liberation, they are actually, sorry, with their knowledge, they are actually liberated by that knowledge. Okay, jnan vimukta. It's sort of similar, but maybe a little bit advanced level of jnani. So Gyan Vimukta. But better than Gyan Vimukta is Bhakti Parma. Parma means superior. Bhakti is superior. So those engaged in devotional service are superior. but better than just those engaged in devotional service. Like we are all engaged in devotional service. But we don't have Krishna prem. We don't have much attachment to Krishna. We are just doing it as a rule, as we know it is good for us. We should cultivate Krishna prema, but we don't have it yet. So better than bhaktas like us are premi bhaktas, premaika nishta tata. So those that have attained pure love, those that have gone through this initial struggles of bhakti and have now achieved Krishna prema, those premi bhaktas are better than the ordinary devotees, okay, or better than sadhakas. So, but sadhakas are better than jnanis because at least they're aiming for love of God. They're not just aiming for liberation, they're aiming for love of God. But better than those just aiming for love of God are the ones that have achieved love of God. So, premi bhaktas, okay. Amongst premi bhaktas, now already, so we are going like in a pyramid, okay. Maximum people in this world are vikarmis. Then there are people that are karmkandi, okay. So remember, a pyramid becomes narrow at the top. Then there are jnanis, then there are bhaktas. So already we are talking about very few rare people of this world that are devotees, okay. Out of those devotees that have achieved Krishna prem are even rare, very, very few achieve Krishna prem. Out of those very rare few people that achieve Krishna prem, tebhyas, out of those Krishna premis, who are the best? Pashupal Pankaja Drishas. Pashupal. Who is Pashupal? Who's Pashupal? Pashupal is Gopal. Like Gopal means the one who takes care of cows. So Pashupal also means the one who takes care of all the animals. So Pashupal, Krishna, Pankaj means his lotus feet. So those that are completely dependent on Krishna. So out of those premi bhaktas, there are the best devotees are gopis. So this is referring to gopis actually. This is referring to gopis. So gopis are the best amongst all the premi bhaktas. Out of gopis, now gopis are very few in our understanding, right? So gopis, out of gopis, the topmost, tebhyo pisa radhika. Out of those gopis, the best and the most dear is, preshta means very dear, is Srimati Radhika, Srimati Radharani. Tadvad, similarly, so this is a hierarchy of people. Then the verse says similarly. So since Radhika is the most dear person to Krishna, similarly, Iyam, this, Tadiya Sarasi, her pond. Tadiya Sarasi means her pond or her lake. Tam Nashret Kakriti. Now this is a question, this is a rhetorical question, which is saying, who will not take shelter of or who will not serve at this pond? Because this, just like Srimati Radha Rani is very dear to Krishna, similarly, this pond is also very dear to Krishna. So who will not, you see in the last line, it's Rup Goswami says, who will, I think he said, who will not reside at Radha Kund and serve this Radha Kund. So tam nashrayat kakriti, who will not take ashray or shelter of this Radha Kund, which is so dear to Krishna. So just like Radha Rani is so dear to Krishna, for Krishna there is no difference between Radha Rani and her pond. They are basically, Radha Kund is nothing but the liquid love of Srimati Radha Rani, and Radha is a person made of Krishna's love. So they are both actually one and the same. So both are equally loving to Krishna. And so who will not take shelter of such a divine Radha Kund? So, and then let's understand next verse also, just the Sanskrit, and then we will have just a little bit of discussion. The next verse says, so this was hierarchy of places. Then Rup Goswami says, okay, let's read this actually, sorry. Let's read this. Can somebody read it?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, Praveen.
Of the many object of sorry, Mataji's font is very slow. Of the many objects of favored delight and of all the lovable demisals of Vrajabhumi, Srimati Radharani is certainly the most treasured object of Krishna's love. And in every respect, her divine Kunda is described by a great sage as similarly dear to him. Undoubtedly, Radha Kund is very rare, rarely attained even by the great devotees. Therefore, it is even more difficult for ordinary devotees to attain. If one simply bathes once within those holy waters, one's pure love of Krishna is fully aroused. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So this verse is telling us that how that of all the gopis, Radharani is most dear of all the lovable damsels of Rajbhumi, which means lovable damsels of Rajbhumi means gopis. Of all the gopis, Srimati Radharani is most dear, and of all the objects of love, Radha Kund is her divine Kund is most dear. And great sages, Munis have told us that it is rarely attained even by the greatest of devotees. And Prabhupada in the purport keeps mentioning the names of Narad Muni and Sanakadi Kumaras, that even they find it very hard to achieve Radha Kund. So how much more it will be difficult for ordinary devotees like us to attain it. So if one simply bathes there, one's pure love for Krishna is fully aroused. So let's look at the Sanskrit very quickly. Krishnasya Uchay. Krishnasya Uchay. Uchay means very high. So for Krishnasya means Krishna ka. So for Pranaya Vasati, the object of love for Krishna, the very high object of love for Krishna is Srimati Radharani amongst all his preyasis. Prayasi means gopis. So he has several preyasis, but out of all those preyasis, Srimati Radharani is his high, Uchai, the topmost object of love. Pranaya Vasati is the object of love. So she is the topmost object of love amongst all gopis. Kundam Chasya, her Kunda, her lake, Munibhir, the great Munis say, similar, Tadrik means similarly, it is described that similarly, just like she is the topmost object of love, similarly, her Kunda is also topmost, okay, as described by the great Munis. And this means that love is very difficult to obtain, asulabham. It is very difficult to obtain even by the greatest of devotees. Yat Preshthe means those devotees that are very dear to Krishna. Even those devotees find it asulabh to achieve this Radha Kund. Kim Punar Bhakti Bhajam. So those who are just engaged in bhajan kriya, who are just engaged in initial phase of devotional service, Kim Punar, what to say of those people? It will be very difficult for ordinary people when Preshther, when his most loving devotees find it asulabh to achieve Radha Kund. Okay. Tat Premidam. So that love, which is so hard to achieve by even the highest of devotees, that love can be achieved by Sakrid means even once. Snatur means bathing. Sara means in that pond. Okay. That love can be, Avishkroti means aroused. That love can arise in one's heart by just bathing once in that pond. So it is said that she is the topmost devotee. She is most dear amongst all preyasis. And Muni says that similarly, Radha Kund is highest object of love for Krishna. And they say that even highest devotees, most dear devotees of Krishna are not able to achieve Radha Kund. What to say of the ordinary devotees? But that love becomes very easy to achieve by just bathing even once in that Radha Kund. So this is the glory of Radha Kund. Just a quick discussion on this. This purport is actually very small and we can read it. But I'll just, and you can read it on your own if you want. The main thing about this is that, Radha Kund is a very sacred, it's a most holy, very exalted spiritual place for us. So it is the highest aspiration of love and service for us. Okay, so we understand Radha Bhav is the highest bhav to achieve. Radha Bhav means that, so we talked about material consciousness and spiritual consciousness, right? This is beyond all that. This is complete, pure love for Krishna. We cannot compare ourselves with that. We have no love for Krishna practically. If given the opportunity, we keep turning away from Krishna. We are talking about Gopi Bhav, Raj Bhav, Radha Bhav, which is a very high, very lofty subject for us actually, because the love that they experience, it is, they have no, I mean, material conception is not even there at all, right? Everything is done to satisfy Krishna completely. They are completely Krishna centered, they're completely Krishna conscious, they sacrifice everything for Krishna. The example given is like this. In your understanding, you understand that for a female, like, the chastity is the topmost thing, but gopis leave their husbands to go connect with Krishna when he plays his flute. That is the advancement of a devotee, that they are so much in love with Krishna, they cannot, they think of Krishna 24 hours, they want to satisfy, serve him, and completely fulfill his wishes and his demands, um, all the time. So this is their love is very difficult for us to understand. We cannot comprehend this type of love, this type of unlimited, pure, divine love for Krishna. So so that mood is very high aspiration, but um, Radha Kund is given to us by Acharyas. Radha Kund is given to us by Radha and Krishna, so that when we go there, we don't think that, okay, just by bathing there once, I will achieve Krishna Prem, and I'll come back home and I say, okay, now Srila Rup Goswami said that I'll achieve Krishna Prem by bathing once, so I have now achieved Krishna Prem. That's not how it works. Or I'll bring water and just sprinkle on everyone. And everybody will attain Krishna Prem. Krishna Prem is not that easy. It's not that cheap. We have to become completely surrendered, submitted, completely devout for Krishna, like Gopi Bhav, like Radha Bhav. You have to achieve that Bhav, and that happens in stages. That's why this nectar of instruction does not have this just one verse. नहीं तो सिर्फ एक verse में काम चल जाता, right? In Bhagavad Gita or in nectar of instruction, Krishna could just say, okay, go take a bath in Radha Kund and you will achieve Krishna Prem. No, Rup Goswami gave us all these other instructions before getting to Radha Kund, which means we are so materially conscious. We have no conception of Krishna. We have no love for Krishna, no attachment for him, no interest in him. We keep losing interest, keep losing faith, keep having doubts. That is not nowhere near Radha Bhav. That is very, very far. So these first 7-8 verses are very important for us, because that's how we develop spiritual consciousness, and some inkling of Krishna Prem starts. Some attachment, some attraction for Krishna, some interest in Krishna conscious activities develop. But that starts from mind control, sense control. We are just in bodily consciousness right now. There is no comparison with that Radha Prem, Gopi Prem right now. We have to get out of this bodily consciousness. So we have to follow those first 7 verses. When we can shed that material conception, material consciousness, and then take a bath in Radha Kund, then Krishna Prem will be aroused. But we have to go through that rigorous process, that you have to grind the sugarcane to get the sugarcane juice out. There is no other way. Nobody can just sprinkle some holy water on you and you become transformed. Nobody can just say, like some people say, can somebody just say a mantra in my ear and I become imbued with Krishna Prem? No, nobody can do jhadu or tantra, totka, say some mantra in your ear just one time, and just, it's a rigorous process. It's a daily process. It's a daily cleansing. It's you have to, आपको घुनना पड़ेगा. जैसे शुगर केन घुनता है मशीन में, घुनना पड़ेगा. There is no easy way. So you have to chant Krishna's name. That's why I was saying verse 8 is the summum bonum, the conclusion for us. That's the sar for us, because there he says that you have to do this 24 hours a day, engage your tongue and mind every day. So nobody can just say that I went to Vrindavan, or even people could be living in Vrindavan, but be doing immoral, unethical things, or be dreaming about other type of activities, other type of material places and people. So that is not Krishna Prem. So you have to have that spiritual consciousness, have that intense, sincere desire to achieve Krishna. This gopis have this intolerable, immense love for Krishna. When we go with that mood, then Radha Kund will, appear in its transcendental form to us, and will have that benefit of getting Krishna Prem. So, so right now when we go to Radha Kund, we have to go in a very humble, very prayerful mood, very mood of great respect, gratitude that I'm here, great fortune that I'm here, with reverence, with the attitude of service, sincere prayers that, give me that service bhav, cleanse my consciousness of all the anarthas. Let me have a rapid progression through these stages of advancement, through these 9 stages of bhakti. So then one can, Radha Kund will reveal itself. And Prabhupada has given us explicitly told us that not to go with a frivolous mindset to Radha Kund. Sometimes, people will go and start swimming in it. Remember that it's a very high, it's a topmost place in the spiritual world. So we cannot have materialistic dealings with spiritual people. We cannot, it's like, whether you are in or out of Vrindavan, any materialistic dealings with spiritual people will lead to offenses, lead to great aprad. And the same Kund will then, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj has said that same Radha Kund will become Narak Kund for you if you, go there and perform immoral things, unethical things. So with devotees, with Guru, with these great objects of devotion, we have to be very careful. We have to have this respectful, prayerful, humble mood, approach them submissively, approach them humbly, just like a guru. They may be very easily accessible or available to you, but don't just have frivolous conversations with them. Be very grave and sober, and do not approach these things for material benefits. Do not have materialistic dealings with them. Otherwise you are either offending them or exploiting them. So like swimming in Radha Kund, treating it like any ordinary swimming pool, that's not accepted. So in this way, Prabhupada has told us that we should go with a certain mood. You can take permission of the seniors there. How should I bathe in this? We don't want to put our feet first in it, in the Radha Kund. So how should I bathe in the Radha Kund? So they will guide you how to do that. I'll pause here. Because it's, like I said, it's a very lofty subject matter. Typically, the last few verses of Nectar of Instruction are quickly covered by devotees. As I said, the first 7 verses or first 8 verses are most instructional for us, because that's where the instruction are for the sadhakas. For Rag Marg means when people already have spontaneous attachment and love for Krishna, then these last few verses apply. But we should know what is the highest object of our of love for Krishna, what is the highest spiritual place in this entire manifestation, and how to approach it. So that's why we even dare to touch these last few verses. Okay, I'll just pause here. Anybody has any questions, points, realizations, please share.
I have a question, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
So obviously, whatever you just mentioned, or whatever Nectar of Instruction is concludes, is the Bhakti Bhav is the most superior bhav towards Krishna. And so, what can a devotee do in a daily life? Like we do Nitya Puja, Japa. Is that considered a Bhakti Bhav? Or is it just considered like, is that we're doing puja or mala or japa? Is that we're doing that for us? What can we do for Krishna or Radharani that would be considered that we're doing something for him, or the real or true bhakti bhav?
Mataji, that's, you're not doing that for you. Yeah, you can say that you're doing it for yourself, for your cleansing, but really this is a service to Krishna. So chanting or japa is a service to Guru and Krishna, Guru and Gauranga. So chanting, don't think this is just for, yes, it is a side benefit of, so, we are so materially conscious that we always think, what is in it for me? So when we are initially introducing chanting of holy names to people, we always say, okay, your anarthas will be gone, your pride, your ego, your anger, all these things will be destroyed. your consciousness will be cleansed. You will have a good day because you chanted today. But the next level of understanding is that the chanting is also devotional service, and it is actually done for Krishna and Guru, for Guru and Gauranga. There's a pastime of Prabhupada. When Prabhupada was sick one time, one of his disciples told him, Prabhupada, in addition to my 16 mala, I will also chant, I don't know, 1 mala or 4 extra malas for you. So Prabhupada said, so all this time, all these other 16 malas, who are you chanting for if not for me? So we have to understand, we are chanting for Guru. Ultimately, we are chanting for Krishna. This is our service to Krishna. So that is one important limb of devotional service. All this is devotional service. Some hearing, some reading, some engaging other people in Krishna consciousness, making prasadam, honoring prasadam, staying in Krishna. You know, the more you can serve in Prabhupada's movement, actually, that will be the best service. So Krishna is revealed to us through Prabhupada. And if we can serve to expand Prabhupada's movement, then that's the best service to Krishna that we can perform, because we are approaching Krishna through Prabhupada. And Prabhupada wanted us to expand this movement. Gauranga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted us to expand the Sankirtan movement. So there should not be any village, any town in this world that does not know Krishna's names, or where people do not chant Krishna's names. There should be temples everywhere. Everyone should be reading Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. There shouldn't be anyone who does not know Bhagavad Gita's principles, fundamental teachings. So that is the devotional service. And all our work, professional work, work at home, work in the community that you do should also be done as a service to Krishna. So nothing really needs to be done for ourselves. That's the principle of yoga. Does that answer, Mataji?
Yes. So I guess whatever we do, we just devote it to Krishna. And then that becomes a bhakti towards him.
Yes, and you can ask people that are that know you well, your seniors. You can ask them which tangible service you can engage in that will engage your certain talents or certain skills you have as a service to other people also. In a way that you can contribute to Prabhupada's movements. Everyone should have a tangible way in which they can contribute to Prabhupada's movement, and that is a subject of discussion with yourself and with your seniors.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Mataji is asking which stage we are, still in Karmi stage or we are sadhaka. So Mataji, we are officially considered sadhakas because we are struggling in sadhaka. There are 9 stages of devotional service. I can put up on the screen. Everyone should know these 9 stages of devotional service. Just like you know the Navda Bhakti, similarly we should know the 9 stages of devotional service also. Here we go. I'm just sharing it on the screen. So we are struggling. We are sadhaka, but we have some faith. We are doing sadhu sangha. We are doing bhajan kriya, meaning we are engaged in devotional service, just like Mataji said. And we are a little bit stuck here in anarth nivritti. All of us are almost stuck in an anarth nivritti, dealing with our anarthas or cleansing of consciousness. This is taking a long time. And we are developing a little bit of steadiness and ruchi or taste. So these 2-3 things are happening at the same time. So gradations of different stages are happening. Some people are more stuck in anarth nivritti, some are more steady, some have developed more taste, but we keep going back and forth between these stages. So we are sort of in these first few levels of stages of devotional service. But we are sadhakas, we are struggling bhaktas.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I have 2 questions. I would like to know your a realization about it. One is about Radha Kund, serving Radha Kund. How can one serve Radha Kund? And then second question is, how do we tie back the concept, like we spoke in the beginning of the call, where you said Braja is where you are and where you practice devotion, or where devotees practice devotion is where Braja is. So how do you connect that back to Radha Kund is a place in Vrindavan? Like Radha Kund is literally there, right? Material.
Yes.
And we say that Radha Kund came from Golok Vrindavan. So it is actually truly Golok Vrindavan Radha Kund. So how do we consider that as a non-material? Or if it is material, then when we serve Radha Kund, are we going in person to Radha Kund and serving there?
Okay, so Mataji, let me see if I have your question correct understanding, and I'll share my realization on this. So Mataji, for me, it is very clear actually. I don't mean I have no qualification to be serving in Vrindavan. So I go under the guidance of our Guru Maharaj and other devotees and go for just a very brief period of time, because I don't want to live there very long, to be serving there very long, and uh, uh, be thinking about material world and getting pulled back to material world. So I think I'll be creating a lot of offenses if I stayed there longer. So so that's the state of my I have no qualification basically. Our Guru Maharaj's mood is very clear. So I know his mood. I do not say anything of my own. His mood is to expand Prabhupada's movement and to expand the movement of Mahaprabhu. And wherever there is no temple, wherever there is not enough knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, that's where we have to stay and use our skills, our talents, our serve in that place and make that place Vrindavan. If we go to Radha Kund, we know that it is a spiritual place. We have to go with, like I said, reverentially, prayerfully, with deep respect, with consider your greatest fortune that you're getting to go there. Ask your senior devotees how to take a bath in Radha Kund. Remember that it is divine waters, it is transcendental. It is not its glories may not be revealed to us because of our material contamination, but it is a most exalted spiritual place. So we have to hear about it, and after hearing about it from Rupa Goswami, we know it's the topmost place. But like I said, I do not feel qualified to serve or live on Vrindavan, in Vrindavan, or especially at Radha Kund. One of our Goswami, many Goswamis, but Srila Sanatan Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami lived at Radha Kund, especially Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Sanatan Goswami lived on Govardhan, not at Radha Kund, but on Govardhan. And Raghunath Das Goswami lived at Radha Kund for many years. And he used to give Bhagavatam classes there. The mood of our tradition of Prabhupada, the way he showed with his example, leaving Vrindavan to come to US. Mahaprabhu, who never lived in Vrindavan, in fact, Nityanand Prabhu did not let him go to Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu did not let Gadadhar Pandit go to Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu did not let Jagdanand Pandit go to Vrindavan. And only select few devotees, like six Goswamis, were instructed to go to Vrindavan. Haridas Thakur never went to Vrindavan. All these things, Nityanand Prabhu did not live in Vrindavan. All our acharyas have set an example that Vrindavan is the mood. It is a place, yes, but remember that spiritual realm is not limited in a way the material places are limited. Spiritual places expand unlimitedly. So wherever you are supposed to create Vrindavan. That is what Prabhupada did. That is what Mahaprabhu did. That is what was instructed to Haridas Thakur and Nityanand Prabhu also, to go to Navdvip and spread Harinam. So that is a mood that I imbibe also, Mataji. If we ever decide to move there, I'd be very cautious and will take strict guidance from our Guru Maharaj and from other seniors. But I think we understand the mood of our Guru Maharaj pretty well in this regard. That's my understanding, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so I think you have to really just take guidance from the, you have to follow, remember we have to perform this Vedi Bhakti under the guidance of seniors, of beloved devotees of the Lord. So according to their guidance, we'll conduct our life. So I'll
Thank
stop here. Are there any other questions? I know it's a very confidential, intimate topic and can sometimes be very difficult. The main thing I would say is that the love for Krishna, if you have to understand in one line, the love for Krishna is where everything else is forgotten. Gopis forget their chastity in love for Krishna, and Krishna forgets his divinity in love for gopis. The love for Krishna means when Krishna forgets he is Supreme Lord, that means you have achieved Krishna Prem. Krishna has forgotten his own divinity because he's so bewildered by your love for him. And so imagine that's the platform. Yes, Nagarjuna Prabhu, please share.
Hare Krishna, Pranam to all devotees, all glories to Shri Prabhupada. Very nice discussion, very nice questions, very good answers, wonderful answers. I had this question actually in the middle of the class, and I think you answered it, Nārangi, during the rest of the class. That what does it mean? I was thinking to attain Radha Kund, because you know it's mentioned in the uh, readings, and then it's mentioned in the purport, and then it's mentioned, and you mentioned it multiple times, that we should try to attain Radha Kund. That's the highest level that's possible. And I think that is partly the discussion, what you have been explaining, as to attaining Radha Kund doesn't mean just going to the banks of Radha Kund and living there. It is much more than that. And again, the qualification to attain Radha Kund is first that we should be able to perfect these other 8 instructions that are given before we can aspire for attaining Radha Kund in the true sense. Because again, we are saying that the topmost devotees of the Lord, like Narad Muni, the 4 Kumaras, they are having difficulty attaining Radha Kund. So what is my place? So it is, and then I think I really like you pretty much, your answers were as always wonderful, and all from scriptures. um, like you mentioned that what does Krishna want from us, and he says in Bhagavad Gita. I just think you didn't mention those necessarily, so I'm just giving the scriptural references for those, because all of them, and I know you know about it, it's all from the scriptures what you have said. So like Krishna mentions in the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that the dearest, the person who's spreading this knowledge to others is the dearest to me. It is 18 point close to 70, I think.
Sharing it.
Uh,
Mhm.
yeah. So he's saying such people who are spreading this information is the so.
You can read it on the screen.
Yeah, so this is 18.68 and 69 from Bhagavad Gita. For one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. So this is one thing I wanted to mention. Then the other thing you mentioned about, there was discussion about chanting and how is that serving Krishna. So again, thinking about it, this is the Yug Dharma. So Yug Dharma means the same, and this is from Srimad Bhagavatam. And Nārangi, you are better at the shlokas. Do you mind pulling up the shloka? It tells that this is the Yug Dharma from Srimad Bhagavatam.
Kriteyadhyayato Vishnum. That one?
Yes.
Kriteyadhyayato Vishnum. I can't remember this verse.
What, you remember the number? 1 point. You can look it up. I can speak in the meantime.
Vapare Paricharyayam Kalau Tadhari Kirtanat. Yes. Yes.
So you can pull it up on the screen.
I'm trying to find it.
Okay. So Yug Dharma means that whatever benefits people used to get in the Satyug by doing tapasya, so they used to please Lord by doing tapasya. So thinking about people who used to stay in certain yoga postures or whatever for thousands and thousands of years, doing yoga and standing in certain yogic postures and stuff, and they get benefit because they are trying to please the Lord. So it's the same benefit that you got in Satyuga from doing tapasya, from in Treta Yuga doing the yoga of Lord Ram, doing yagnas. So we read in Ramayana there were a lot of yagnas being done to please the Lord. Like there is the Ashwamedh yagya and all those yagya to please the Lord. Then in Dwapar Yuga, by deity worship. So in the Dwapar Yuga, they used to do deity worship. Just like, there was this sacrifice being done for Lord Indra, and then they did for Govardhan. So there was deity worship was the Yug Dharma for Dwapar Yuga. And similarly, in Kal Yuga, the Yug Dharma is doing Sankirtan. So Sankirtan, so this is from Srimad Bhagavatam, that to please the Lord in the same way that people used to do in the past by doing yagyas, by doing tapa, by doing deity worship, in this yuga, we are supposed to chant the holy name to please the Lord. So again, this is all authorized. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Thank you, Nagarjun Prabhu, for giving scriptural references. Yeah, yagya, just like you do yagya for Vishnu's pleasure, right? We've been reading, Mataji, in Bhagavatam, how Daksha was doing those yagyas for pleasure of the Lord. And Lord Vishnu was so pleased when finally the yagya was completed by with all the devotees there, especially Lord Shiva. So in this way, this is also a yagya. And actually, our teachings are, this is japa yagya. So this is a yagya you're doing every day. You're doing this yagya for the pleasure of Supreme Lord. But also all these programs we conduct, all these festivals you put up. It is not like sometimes people think, oh, I'll come, maybe I will not come, maybe this, maybe that. This is yagya. You're doing a yagya where you are burning up thousands of sins. You may not feel like attending, you may not feel like coming that day, you may not feel like traveling. That's your yagya, where you are offering all these oblations into the fire. So yagya is not just where the oblations are offered into the fire. This is the yagya where your senses, mind, intelligence, ego, pride, anger, all of this are being put into the fire. So you are engaging all your skills, you're engaging people, you're cooking prasadam, all these things, these festivals and programs that we organize. I really implore all of you to not take them cheaply. This is a yagya that you're performing. This is where you are fulfilling that Krishna's words, that if somebody gives my teachings, my instructions to other people, then he will attain pure devotional service. This is not something to just, okay, maybe I'll attend. No, you're not attending. You're organizing this. You're organizing the yagya. You are the main
Jajman.
jajman there, yes. And the goal is to please Supreme Lord. So this is what we have to understand. This is Mahaprabhu's tradition, this is Mahaprabhu's instruction, this is given in Srimad Bhagavatam, this is given over and over in Chaitanya Charitamrit, how we should be doing everything for the pleasure of the Lord, and that becomes the yagya, especially japa. But also spreading and preaching, book distribution. Now sometimes we think, okay, to this time I won't go. No, but this is the yagya, this is Sankirtan yagya, this is the dharma of this yuga. So please think about this.
Yes, and then so again, it's also this is also instruction, direct instruction, that we should be celebrating the festivals of the Lord. We should be meeting together with devotees. We read in Nectar of Instruction how we should be dealing with we should be doing sangha with like-minded people. So this is direct instructions, and we try to follow them. So by organizing these programs, by cooking in these programs, by attending these programs, doing shravnan, hearing in the program, and no service is menial. And that is what actually, if you, when like we'll be going to this yatra now soon. So we meet all the god brothers and other people who are living closer to temples, and they're big congregations. Actually, if you listen to them, what they say is all of them actually applaud the services that you all are doing, because they say that doing it at a place where not much is available, the temple is not available, keeping your consciousness, keeping more Krishna conscious is more difficult. So doing these programs, it's actually a yagna for us, because just like Nārangi said, that our Guru Maharaj's mood is very clear. We had this opportunity, we were talking about should we move or not a few years back, And then same thing, Guru Maharaj's mood is that actually if you can serve in a place where there is not much temple and other things, that is actually a better service than actually living in Radha Kund or Govardhan or Vrindavan. There are lots of devotees there and much better devotees than us. So, Hare Krishna.
Okay, so yeah, this is an austerity we have to do. Okay, we'll stop here. We've exceeded the time. We'll join again next time. Thank you everyone for joining. Vancha kaltarubhyascha kripa sindhuvevacha patitanam
Patitanam
pavanebhyo
pavanebhyo
Vyo
vaishnavebhyo
vaishnavebhyo namo
Vaishnavebhyo namo
Purve
namah.
Gaurachandraya Radhikaya
Radhikaya
Tadaya
Tadalaya Stukrasaya